Imagine waking up to a soft, almost imperceptible sound at your doorstep. You rub the sleep from your eyes thinking it's just the wind or maybe a stray cat. But as you open the door, your heart skips a beat. There, wrapped in a thin blanket, is a baby, a tiny, fragile human being, left on your doorstep with no note, no explanation, nothing. Your mind races. Who would do this? Why here? Why now? And as you pick up the child, you realize your life is about to change in ways you could never have imagined. This is not just a story about finding a baby. This is a story about secrets, lies, and a truth so shocking it will leave you speechless. Stay with me, because what unfolds next will keep you on the edge of your seat. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Your Name, and I love sharing stories that are not just intriguing, but also life-changing. Today's story is one of those tales that will make you question everything you think you know about trust, family, and the lengths people will go to protect their secrets. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of the incredible stories we share here. And if you're as captivated by this story as I am, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I love hearing your thoughts and theories. It was a crisp autumn morning when it happened. The kind of morning where the air feels fresh and the world seems to hold its breath just for a moment. I had just finished my morning coffee, the steam still curling up from the mug, when I heard it. A faint cry, so soft it could have been mistaken for the wind. But something about it felt off. I walked to the door, my slippers scuffing against the wooden floor, and opened it. And there she was, a baby, no more than a few months old, wrapped in a pink blanket that had seen better days. Her tiny fists were clenched, and her face was red from crying. My heart leapt into my throat. I looked around, half expecting to see someone, anyone, running away or hiding in the shadows. But the street was empty. The only sound was the rustling of leaves as they danced in the breeze. I knelt down, my hands trembling as I reached for her. She was so small, so delicate. I cradled her in my arms, and for a moment, the world stood still. Who would leave a baby like this? What kind of person could abandon a child on a stranger's doorstep? My mind was a whirlwind of questions, but there was no time to think. The baby needed warmth, food, and care. I brought her inside, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The first clues. As I settled the baby on the couch, I noticed something tucked into the folds of the blanket, a small crumpled piece of paper. My hands shook as I unfolded it, and my eyes scanned the hastily scribbled words. Please take care of her. Her name is Lily. I can't keep her safe anymore. My breath caught in my throat. Safe? What did that mean? Was someone in danger? Was the baby in danger? My mind raced with possibilities, each one more terrifying than the last. I looked down at Lily, her eyes now closed as she drifted off to sleep. She looked so peaceful, so innocent. How could anyone want to harm her? I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit back and wait for answers to come to me. I had to find out who left her here and why. But where to start? The note was vague, and there were no other clues. I decided to call the police, but as I reached for my phone, I hesitated. What if the person who left her here was watching? What if they were desperate enough to do something drastic if they thought I was involving the authorities? I needed to be careful. For Lily's sake, I had to tread lightly. The investigation begins. Over the next few days, I became a detective of sorts. I started by asking my neighbors if they had seen anything unusual that morning. Most of them hadn't, but Mrs. Henderson, the elderly woman who lived across the street, mentioned seeing a car parked near my house around dawn. She couldn't remember the make or model, but she said it was dark-colored and looked out of place in our quiet neighborhood. That was something, at least. I began to keep an eye out for any unfamiliar cars, but days passed and nothing happened. Lily, meanwhile, was thriving. She had the most infectious laugh, and her presence brought a kind of joy to my life that I hadn't realized was missing. But the mystery of her origins still weighed heavily on my mind. Then one evening, as I was putting Lily to bed, I heard a knock at the door. My heart leapt into my throat. Was it the person who left her here? Were they coming back for her? I hesitated, then slowly made my way to the door, my mind racing with possibilities. I opened the door to find a woman standing there, her face pale and drawn. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her hands trembled as she clutched a small bag. I'm Lily's mother," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, I need to see her." The mother's story. I was stunned. This was the last thing I had expected. I stepped aside, letting her in, and she rushed to the couch where Lily was sleeping. She knelt beside her, tears streaming down her face as she gently stroked Lily's cheek. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't want to leave her, but I had no choice. I was so scared." I sat down across from her, my mind reeling. "What happened? Why did you leave her here?" She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "My name is Sarah, Lily's father. He's not a good man. He's involved in things, dangerous things. When I found out I was pregnant, I knew I had to get away from him. But he found us. He said if I didn't give him Lily, he'd hurt us both. I couldn't let that happen, so I ran. I left her here because I thought you could protect her. I've been watching the house, making sure she was safe. But I couldn't stay away any longer. I had to see her." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a story about a baby left on a doorstep. This was a story about a mother's love, about sacrifice, and about the lengths a parent will go to protect their child. The shocking truth. But as Sarah continued to speak, I realized there was more to the story. Much more. She told me about Lily's father, a man named Marcus, who was involved in a criminal organization. He had threatened not just Sarah and Lily, but anyone who got in his way. Sarah had been on the run for months, moving from place to place, always looking over her shoulder. She had left Lily with me because she thought I was the only person who could keep her safe, but then she dropped the bombshell. "Marcus isn't just dangerous," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He's your brother." I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My brother? Marcus? It couldn't be. We hadn't spoken in years, not since he had gotten involved with the wrong crowd and disappeared from our lives. I had always hoped he would turn things around, but now he was the reason this innocent child was in danger. The climax. The next few days were a blur. Sarah and I formed an uneasy alliance, united by our love for Lily and our desire to keep her safe. We knew we couldn't do it alone, so we reached out to the authorities, but even they were hesitant to get involved. Marcus was a powerful man with connections that reached far and wide. We were up against something much bigger than we had ever imagined, but we didn't give up. We couldn't. For Lily's sake, we had to keep fighting. We moved from place to place, always one step ahead of Marcus and his men. It was exhausting, terrifying, but every time I looked at Lily, I knew it was worth it. Then one night, the unthinkable happened. Marcus found us. He burst into the safe house we were staying in, his eyes wild with rage. He grabbed Lily, and for a moment, I thought it was all over. But Sarah, brave and desperate, stood up to him. She pleaded with him, begged him to let Lily go. And then, in a moment of clarity, Marcus hesitated. He looked at Lily, really looked at her, and something in him seemed to break. He let her go. The resolution. In the end, Marcus turned himself in. He realized that his life of crime had cost him everything: his family, his freedom, and most importantly, his daughter. Sarah and I were finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. Lily was safe, and that was all that mattered. But the story doesn't end there. Sarah and I decided to raise Lily together as a family. She became the light of our lives, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is hope. And as for Marcus, he's serving his time, but he's also working to turn his life around. He writes to Lily, sending her letters filled with love and regret. Maybe one day when she's older, she'll want to know him. But for now, she's happy, healthy, and surrounded by people who love her. This story is a testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and the lengths we will go to protect those we care about. It's a reminder that even in the most desperate of situations, there is always a glimmer of hope. If you've made it this far, thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories about what happened. And remember, no matter how dark things may seem, there is always a way forward. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.